Well, let's bring in legal practitioner at Zikalala Attorneys, Mpumelelo Zikalala, who joins us now for this discussion. Thank you so much for your time. So just your thoughts, on the legalities around the former minister now being sworn in as a member of parliament after being charged with corruption.
I think we need to separate the issues. From a legal perspective, I think there's nothing which precludes them from being a member of parliament. Section 35 of the Constitution is very clear in terms of saying a person is innocent up until proven guilty. But for sure, questions are going to be asked according to the Constitution of the ANC to then say, where is the step aside the rule now? Why does it apply to others and not other individuals? One person that comes to mind is Zandile Kumede. Remember that even to the run-up to the elections, her name was not included in any of the either positions that were there. As we speak, she is currently an executive of a very big region, which is within KZN, and yet she's not allowed to participate in their duties. So I think maybe the ANC must come back and clarify and say, when does the step aside rule apply to whom and in what instances is then an exception being made? But from a legal perspective, Mr. Kodwa has every right, if his name does appear in terms of the IEC and is nominated by the party, to go to parliament and say, I'm here to serve, even though I may need some time to go and look after my legal backlog that I'm still fighting.
And particularly because he did what most don't necessarily do, in that as soon as he was due to appear, he resigned. And in fact, after appearing, he resigned as the minister, as well as an NEC member, I think, of the ANC. But he did indicate, in that interview today, that the case against him is non-existent. I mean, when we look at the case, just talk to us about the merits of this particular case and how much it actually weighs against him.
Even though it would be difficult to do that without looking at the intricate details of the matter, however, I don't think that the NPA would wake up one morning and say, you want to charge you for certain misconducts and acts of where it is alleged that you have broken the law, simply for a case which is not there. There must have been something that they've looked at. There must have been a prosecutor that just sat down, looked at the merits and said, go ahead and go and arrest this particular individual, knowing the risk of knowing that we may even be sued at the end of the day for unlawful or malicious prosecution and the impact that is going to have on his image. So to say that the case is not there, any other accused individuals will say so, but I think let's leave it up to the court to determine after it has evaluated the evidence that is there and after it's provided its own explanation as to the acts in which he is alleged to have committed.
I mean, there are, of course, political parties who have objected, to him being back as a member of parliament. In the event, a party registers an ethics complaint with parliament as an example, what is likely to happen?
Well, it's looked at in the rules of what the ethics committee will then do. But the loophole in all of this is that it looks at the administration as it is now. It looks at the individual as it is now. And the one thing which they cannot whisk away is the presumption of innocence, which is afforded by the Constitution. So there's no provision or any rules in Parliament that says if you are accused of doing something or certain things or wrong acts, you are not allowed to participate in any activities of Parliament. Because I think what they were looking at was to say, at the end of the day, Section 35 would be sacrosanct, the provisions of the Constitution are going to be supreme. So who are we to go against what the provisions of the Constitution are actually saying and deprive that individual and the people that have sent them to Parliament the ability and the right to decide on their behalf? But I think what Parliament will try to do at all costs is to say, political parties, please think about the image that you are trying to portray. Please think about the type of statures and the individuals that we want in Parliament and to represent members of the public. So when sending people to go and represent you in Parliament, think about those things and also about the skill and acumen that they come with.
And in the event that the case is concluded before the 5-year period ends, what happens to his position legally?
Well, because it will not be available if he is sent to jail to go and participate in parliamentary activities. Unfortunately, his seat will have to be given to somebody else. It will not be forfeited by the African National Congress. The seat will remain. It's just that another individual will then come in and fill in his space and replace him in Parliament.
I want us, Mr. Zikalala, if you can allow me, of course, at the same time, we saw Dr. John Hlophe, of course, he is now the uMkhonto weSizwe parliamentary leader. And I mean, just your reaction, this is an impeached judge not too long ago, in fact, now entering a parliament. Your comments around this, I mean, have we actually seen this happen before in the country?
I think it's the first time in which we have an impeached judge who then comes back as a parliamentarian and is sworn in as a member of parliament. Well, there are two ways of looking at it. The first way, or the first one is to say, well, let's look at the integrity and the mirroring of the two acts. One, the impeachment of someone because we then allege that their character is not right for a position in which they need to occupy, that being of a judge, and taking the same individual and turning them into a member of parliament. The second one is to say, he's an individual at the end of the day. He has every rights which are applicable to you and I or any other members of the public. And if there's a certain political party that says, Dr. Hlophe, we think you are going to be the right individual to go to parliament to defend us, then we're going to put our trust on you. Please go there. And there's no provision in the Constitution that prevents him from doing so. But another important matter, which I think we must also look at it in this sense, many a times in parliament, you'd find political parties sending individuals with no skill, no experience in terms of playing their oversight roles. Now, if you send someone like Judge or Dr. Hlophe to Parliament and say to them, go and preside or be part and parcel of the Constitutional Development and Justice Committee and go and sit within the JSC, he's going to interview those individuals based on the experience that he has in terms of being a judge. He's not going to simply ask questions which are community-based or questions which are not going to assist anyone. So the role of the Parliament at the end of the day is also to play an oversight role, which I think he can be able to do well. But most importantly, they are the legislature. Our rules, our acts, they come from them. Now, it would be beneficial for all political parties to then say, the people that are going to pass these laws, make it, or it's better if it's individuals that understand how they work, they understand the judiciary, how it works, and will understand how the separation of powers, or the question of separation of powers works, so that we have people that are fit for purpose if they are put in parliament, and not to have individuals who are going to occupy those seats purely on a popularity vote.
Mr. Zikalala, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate your analysis on this particular matter. Legal practitioner there, Zikalala Attorneys, Mpumelelo Zikalala, joining us there for that comment. All right.